Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Dean Rod Vera, and this is The Dean. We're back to my law school series, and in this video, we'll talk about how to prepare for face-to-face classes. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Again, I am Dean Rod Vera, and this is the Dean channel. I make law school videos and other legal commentary. And if you're a law student or about to be a law student, please explore my channel and see a lot of other tips on how to survive, how to be in law school, and what it is to be a law student. Today, we'll talk about face-to-face classes. And if you are a freshman law student or a law student, maybe incoming third year or fourth year, the Legal Education Board has allowed law schools to conduct either face-to-face classes or online classes, meaning it's at the option of the law school. Now, for those who are just entering law school, you have been in college online classes for the last 2 years or maybe in 3 years. Maybe there was some gradual transition, but this is law school, so it's going to be different. If you are a old law student, the last 2 years have been online classes. And I'm telling you now, it's so different. There's a different type of preparation. Let's begin. First, I'll give you tips on what to do outside of the class or outside of the school. Number one, you must remember if it's going to be face-to-face classes, you are going to go to school. You're going to either commute or take your own private car, private transportation. And you have to make sure that you allot for the travel time. You want to arrive in the school around maybe an hour or maybe 2 hours before the class. But if you're going to study in law school in the school library, you got to come earlier than that. Allot maybe 3 to 4 hours, if you can, to study for the class. Number two, you're going to have to bring a bag. Get a good bag, a good sturdy bag that will handle your notebook or laptop, your actual notebook, your physical notebook, some books, and other essentials that you may need. I have a video down below here in the description on the essentials for law school. Please explore that video. You will need that bag to keep all your things, and make sure when you bring that bag, it's going to come to the specs of either law school or how you commute. If it's going to be a backpack or a shoulder bag, make sure you have some security with that bag. My third tip on things to do outside of the classroom, you're going to need a good attire, something comfortable. Make sure you ask the school what are the uniform requirements or the dress code, and then you comply with that. Usually it's what you wear to the office or some sensible clothing. Also, get a good pair of shoes. Not necessarily those shoes that you're going to walk with, it's the comfortable shoes you're gonna stand on. You might stand for 1 hour or 2 hours at a time. So make sure your shoes are comfortable standing up, not necessarily for walking. Or maybe those running if you're late for class. Of course, in this time of pandemic, COVID, or other types of germs, have your own germ kit. Alcohol, wipes, make sure, or an extra mask or so. Make sure you have the essentials. And in this August 2022, we are alert level 1. So the school the school will ask for your vaccine card. Now let's go to the tips for inside the classroom while you are face to face. Again, this is a tip between before class and during class. Eat before class. Make sure you are not in class with a hungry stomach because you will have an angry professor. Was that bad? I'm sorry for that. Also, aside from eating food, make sure you're hydrated. Drink before class, but not so much that you're going to have to, go out between classes or within the class. Bring a water bottle if you have to. You can drink while in the classroom. Make sure you don't drink while you're reciting. Second tip for inside the classroom, and I can't say this enough, prepare. There's going to be recitation. And so I have videos down below on how to prepare for recitation, how to read and recite the case digest. So please explore that. So in essence, prepare for class. Now for the scariest moment in law school. Your name is called for recitation. What should you do? First, if you have a notebook or a laptop, close it like this. What does that do? That small gesture shows the professor that you can handle recitation without looking at your notes. It may seem corny, but that simple step will show the professor that you will rely on your memory and your critical thinking. So, if you've seen my video on recitation, I'll give you some tips again if I remember right. Answer only the question asked. Do not volunteer any new information, any personal information, or any information from your personal experience. Answer direct to the question. If it's a yes or no, say yes or no. If they ask to explain, then explain it. But make sure let the professor lead the question, lead the recitation. Now, when answering, speak clearly and confidently, but always with respect. Remember, when you're gonna call the professor, make sure you remember the title. If he's just an attorney, he's a dean like me, he's a judge from the RTC or the MTC, or he's a justice of the Court of Appeals or even maybe Supreme Court. And also, if he's a part of a government body, so either call him chairman or vice chairman, make sure and do your research on the title of the professor. Now, you're answering and the professor tells you you're wrong. Admit it. Take the hit. Don't argue with the professor. Even if you think he's wrong, or even if you know he's wrong, do not counter him. Do not counter argue. Find better ways to say, yes, sir. Yes, professor. I submit, professor. It's not like you're surrendering. You're saying that, yes, professor, you're right. Your logic is right. And I'm taking it into account. Another tip I'll give you for face-to-face classes is keep a scorecard. What am I saying by that? Most professors have a recitation system. If it's a round 1, round 2, meaning if it's a round system, they will call everybody first before you're called for a second time. That way, you know when you are called. By knowing who's been called, and you'll practically predict when you're up. Sometimes also know the routine of the professor, how he calls for recitation. Is it random? Is it a set list? Or is it alphabetical? By doing so, you can predict when you're going to be called. I'm not saying don't study when you know you're going to be called, but nevertheless, be prepared. Now, if you know you're not going to get called, this is what you should do when you're not going to recite, or at least you're just standing or sitting idly in class. Number 1, on this sub-tip, never ever look at your phone. Resist. Don't get into the temptation. Never mind if your crush just posted something on Instagram. Resist. Do it after class. That picture will always stay there. And if it's an IG story or Facebook reel, don't even click it. Watch it later. Of course, you can look down at your phone, but I would rather the professor see it be notes, a notebook, or even like a piece of paper with your notes. And speaking of notes, when you make a notes, you can have maybe even index cards or pieces of paper. Make bullet lists about the codal provision that you're studying or the cases, so that it's an easy recall and you can look at it. You can glance at it or quick look at it when you're reciting. If you're gonna look down quickly. When the professor is lecturing or correcting somebody, listen attentively and take down notes if you can. These are important because sometimes, once in a while, a professor will ask that question or a question regarding what he verbally said while in class. I have done that many times. And if you're going to be a student of mine, you know what to do. At the end of the class hour, know this: rinse and repeat. You might get called in the next class or 2 classes after that. You have to be prepared every single day for law school. It's important. That's why you went to law school. That's why you want to be a lawyer. This is the price you have to pay. Study hard, recite softly and clearly. Good luck to all of you. Hi, please do me a favor and smash that like button. It'll help me a lot and it will trigger the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you don't, my dog will eat this exam booklet and that student has to repeat his final exam again.